What's good, y'all? It's your boy Nasty Palms, and I am here to teach you guys everything you need to know about stats. So, how we're gonna break down these segments is I'm gonna talk about stats in general, and then I'll break them down for each position and what position I think each stat best benefits. So, let's begin. So we have stats. We have the mid shot, which basically it affects the field goal of mid shots, and field goal in this game is also known as success. So it's the success of mid shots. The same thing with 3 points. It's the success of 3 point shots. Inside shot affects, same thing, success inside shots in the paint. So inside shots are like sky hook, turn shot, stuff like that. LD stands for long dunk. Sorry, not long dunk, layup and dunks. It affects the success rate of those. And then obviously you have rebound, which it affects the jump range and jump height of rebound. Then we have block, which affects the jump range and the jump height. Then we have contact, which affects the pushing ability, body contact ability of back downs, and defense against affects the chance of box out. So if you see here, it says body contact ability of back slash defense. So I believe what it's trying to say is it works both ways. So if you have contact, it affects the ability of backing down people, and then vice versa. If you have high contact, it makes you stronger from being back down. So that's my take on it. But contact also helps with a lot of things. Yeah, it helps with box out, face up, and I think that's what it's saying. Then we have steal. Steal affects the success rate of stealing and passively intercepting the ball. Control affects the chance of the ball being stolen by the opponent when dribbling. So I think a lot of small forwards should probably get this, but we'll get into that segment soon. Um, Run obviously affects the movement speed of all moves. Now here's the tricky thing about run. I'm not too sure if the stat actually makes you move faster, and I'm not sure if it actually makes your skills go faster as it says. I'm not too sure. We're gonna have to do some more research into this move run. I know it probably works better on guards or something. I don't know if it really makes it faster, to be honest. But affects the movement speed of all moves. So basically, whatever move you use, it's supposed to do it faster. So if you're a dribbler, you have run, it's supposed to make you dribble faster. Now, is that the truth? I do not know. Um, we got stamina, which is affects his max stamina, makes you run longer. Do whatever you have to do at a longer period of time. Now, stamina gets drained the most from running, so the higher your stamina bar is, the longer you can run. And then obviously we have pass, which affects the range of a valid pass. Teammates are less likely to miss the ball you pass them within the valid range. So basically, the higher your pass, the better your passes are, and the less likely it is to like go over their heads and the ball gets thrown away. Now let's go into extras. This is the part where a lot of people aren't too familiar with or even knows this part exists. You got 3 point shot range. Now I don't really need to click on these to show you guys, but you know what? I'll do it anyways. It basically the distance at which the accuracy of your 3 point shot starts to decrease. So basically, if you're a shooting guard or any position, the further away you shoot from, the higher your 3 point success drops. But if you have 3 point shot range, then shooting from that distance wouldn't decrease your success that much. And then you have dunk rate, which is very self-explanatory. It affects the chance of triggering layups and dunks. Um, Mid-shot field goal affects the success. It affects the final field goal of mid shots, aka success of mid shots. Then we have mid shot resist. It lowers the negative impact on your field goal when your mid shot is interrupted. So, say you're a shooting guard, a small forward, or whatever, you're spamming dribble left, right, and then you pull up. Let's say somebody's in your way, or somebody happens to jump at your mid shots, but they don't block it. Mid shot resist comes into play, and it lowers their interruption. So but that doesn't mean if you don't have high, mid shot success or high mids. I mean, this card can only do so much, but it does lower the resist of people being in your way or contesting your shot and stuff like that. And then we have mid shot interrupt, which is basically the opposite of resist. In For mid shot interrupt, it's basically interrupting somebody's shot. When your opponent is performing a mid shot, increase the field goal reduction effect of interrupting. Basically, as I said, it makes you interrupt their shot at a much higher rate, which of course then drops their mid shot success. And it's the same thing that goes to for field goal. Field goal is the success of 3-point shots. 3-point resist is the same thing. Resistance of contest shots and stuff like that. Three, and then we have the opposite of 3-point shot interrupt, which is interrupting somebody's 3-point shot success. Um, Inside shot field goals, same thing. Inside shots, the success of them goes up. Now here's the thing: PAI shot and resist and IN shot. They're all the same thing. So IN stands for like inside, and PAI actually stands for paint. So if you guys are wondering what that actually means, or if you got it on a card and you're like, what the heck does that mean? It actually means paint. So those things. So anything you do inside the paint or inside, those are what Those are some cards that could help you a lot. So and inside and paint, they're the exact same thing. And you could probably get paint shots, from just shooting inside the paint, doing hook shots, sky hooks, turn shot, so on and so on. LD stands for layup and dunk range, meaning you could dunk from a further distance. The higher this extra stat is. And then we have rebound which stands for rebound contact. This is actually it affects the success rate of wrong one. Yeah, there we go. Rebound, yeah. It affects the final success rate of rebounding. So when you jump for the ball, this is the deciding factor. This is the biggest deciding factor on who snags and who gets snagged on. So let's say you box somebody out very well, but at the end, if they still jump and they're able to reach the ball, the final success of who gets the ball is how high that person's rebound contact is. All right, so there's that. Then we have box out contact, which is basically it affects the success rate of boxing out when rebounding. So let's say if you have a low box out contact, what would happen is you would box somebody out, but if they have higher than you, then you'll notice that they're pushing you forward because your box out is lower than theirs, so they're able to push you from in front versus being behind or something like that. Yeah. So let's say you're sorry, no, sorry. If you're in front and they're behind, they could push you forward. If you have a low box out contact, if you're a center or something like that or power forward, you want to have a high box contact, so that way you can actually box out people and push them backwards. Um, you have rebound height, self-explanatory as well. Which is basically affects the jump height of rebound. So jumping high for rebounds, rebound range, obviously the jump range of a rebound. Then you have block rate, which basically, see, this is the biggest thing that's different between all these other games that I've played, and I actually like this most. So like in Basket Trio, you actually have to have success rate even for blocks. So you can't make a shooting guard or a small forward or a point guard stack blocks on them and then expect them to block everything. No. Majority of the times the success rate of your block comes from block rate, which affects the success rate of a blocking result. So if you have high blocks on like a point guard or a shooting guard or a small forward, and you don't have high block rate, then even when you attempt good blocks, it'll still go past you, which I like a lot because it basically means if you're gonna focus on defense, then you got to focus on defense. You like all these other games like 3-on-3 freestyle, like SF2. Once you upgrade blocks, you just automatically become a block god, and then not only that, then you get to also play on defense because your cards could be on success, but as long as you have high blocks, you can block everything. But in this game, no, your cards have to almost match your playstyle. So if you're gonna have high blocks, you're gonna need block rate, because not because you have high blocks mean that you're not gonna get dunked on, or somebody's not gonna shoot in your face. It's less likely because you have high blocks, but it would be better if you have block rate. You feel me? Then you have block resist. Um, oh, sorry, block resist. Block resist lowers the success rate of your opponent's blocks. So you see, if you shoot the ball, and somebody comes to block, if you have block resist, it lowers their chance of swatting it. Pretty awesome, pretty awesome. So you can combat, block rate. Then you got block range, which is affects the jump range of block. Then you have steal rate, which affects the chance of getting a steal. Once again, as I said, if you're a center, now let's switch the rules. If you're a center, power forward, shoot it, small forward, and you decide to make a steal build, your cards are gonna have to match your stats as well. So if you're gonna have high steals, you're gonna also need steal rate, or else the chances of getting the steal, it won't be as great. Of course, you could get steals because you have a steal build, but to make it better, you need steal rate. And then steal resist, lowers the chance of the ball being stolen by the opponent when dribbling. So like, let's say you're a small forward, you're a shooting guard, and you're dribbling, boom, boom, boom. If the point guard presses the steal button, if you have steal resist, then the chances of them swiping it goes down. This is almost another control. It's just control, honestly. If you have high control, it's almost like the same thing. Running speed. Oh, sorry. What? Why do I keep clicking on the wrong things? Running speed affects the movement speed of all moves. Now this is where I think the big difference lies. I think what you guys need is running speed, as in the percentage, not just the stat. I feel like the stat doesn't really do justice. I believe the justice comes from getting it on your cards and getting running speed on cards. That's where the justice really hits your character, and you get to see it a lot. But if you notice, these are in percentages, guys. So what it basically means, so running speed is like, let's say if you have high running speed, this is gonna be a percentage of your total run. You feel me? It's gonna so let's say if you have 200 run, if you have running speed on your cards, then it'll be like, let's say for instance, you got a card and it has 1%. So you have running speed 1%. So it is 1% of that 200 in total that you have. So you see, and that's a big difference that I'm trying to tell you guys, because having 200 run or 200 speed, whatever it's called, with 1% running speed is a big difference than having 201 speed. You feel me? So if you have stats and you add on an extra running speed, it's not gonna be as much as having a percentage of your total already. So make sure you guys check that out, man. Make sure you guys check it out indeed. Then you got stamina limit, affects the stamina limit. Now I believe this means like how much stamina gets drained as you run or as you do whatever. Stamina recovery, affects the stamina recovery per second. How fast you can get your stamina back. You got passing range, which affects the range of a valid pass. Super important move that gets slept on. So basically, you could pass it from a further distance without throwing away the ball. Driving tumble affects the shake-off rate during a drive. Now, basically, what this move is how could I say is breaking somebody's ankles. So the higher drive tumble, the more you are likely to break somebody's ankles. So let's say you drove left and you have a low drive tumble, then if somebody went right, then they won't fall as much as if you had drive tumble. So if you have drive tumble and you drove left and they went right, they're gonna fall, and that leaves you wide open, and that's something you should look into too. Um, cool move. Shake resist is a shake off resist lowers the chance of your ankles being broken by the opponent when the opponent is driving. So what I like about Basketrio, there's so many cancellations to things. Like, you know, that's what I like. It's a lot of minus and pluses in this game. So let's say if you have a high drive tumble, but I also have a high shake resist, then they go, then they come back and they go hand in hand. I mean, or fist in fist, because they're fighting each other. So if you have high drive tumble and then I have high shake resist, then you won't be able to shake me off that easily. And then you have this move, which I'm not too sure. KD resist lowers the chance of being knocked down and being stopped dribbling when driving. Okay, so basically, drive tumble is breaking somebody's ankle. KD, I believe it stands for knock down resistance, is when you're dribbling. Let's say you accidentally bump into somebody, it lowers your chances of falling down, or it lowers your chances of stopping your dribble, which is almost pretty cool. So let's say you go left, right, and you bump into somebody, or somebody's there on your right side with a high knockdown resistance. You can still stand up and continue dribbling and stuff like that. Pretty awesome. Now, INTPT intercept. This is your intercept resistance, I believe. Oh, sorry. This is interrupt. Okay. Sorry. So upgrading steals is where you get intercepts from, but this is interrupt. Lowers the impact of your field goal when your shot is interrupted by an opponent. So basically, when you shoot your ball, interrupt resist, lowers whoever's trying to contest your shot. And interrupt rate is increasing the interrupt for mid shots, 3-point shots, and close shots. So this is to basically more of a hand in your face defense, more of a, trying to lower somebody's success. All right, so now let's break it down, starting with centers. The stats I recommend for centers are rebound contact, because rebound contact, as I mentioned, is the final, it's the final decision maker of who grabs the board and not. Then I would say box out contact, which is basically, boxing somebody out, which you need a lot, because if you're a center, you got to think of it as like you're the elephant in the room. You don't, and if you go up against two power forwards, they're almost like two tigers. They're faster, they're quicker. But if you have high box out contact, then you can hold your own as the elephant, and stomp on the tigers. Having a high box out contact, you'll be able to, have a stronger body to box them out. And then with the high rebound contact, you grab that ball at the end. And then those are the main two that I highly recommend. Now, if you want to, I would also suggest rebound height. Rebound height is a beautiful move for a center. You know, jumping higher, you can't go wrong with that. That's like basically, you know, leaving everybody in your dust. But it's very hard to get rebound height. But I mean, it's definitely a extra stat that I suggest you should look into if you're a center. Now let's go to point guard. For point guards, I highly suggest you build your point guard as a defender. Um, Having high, you can't go wrong with having high steals. Yo, you almost need to have high steals. Um, Here's the thing. I highly suggest a lot of point guards to play as Kai too. I might put that in a different video on characters that I suggest, but for this reason, Kai's move is to marginally increase layups, dunk range, and contact for like 3.5 seconds after using dash during offensive round. That's what you need a lot as a point guard because you're not the main scorer, but while your team is like trying to get open and you're holding the ball, you know, you could at least pull off something with Kai. The rest you can't. So if your team gets clamped up, at least Kai has some sort of offensive move. But we're getting off topic. But I highly suggest getting steal rate, running speed, and passing range or pass speed. Um, those are the skills I recommend the most because I'm telling you guys right now, having a high passing range and having a high pass speed is beautiful. Like when I say beautiful, I mean beautiful. If I'm a shooting guard and I have a small window to hit a wide open shot and you have a low pass speed, I can't hit that shot no more. And we're going to have to reset and try to create another, you know, shooting opportunity. And if you have pass range, now here's the thing. I would say pass range is one of those moves where, you know, if you could get it, you could get it. If not, it's fine. Because you guys have baseball pass or whatever it's called, long distance pass. I don't know. It's basically like where you chuck the ball like it's a baseball. If you play point guard, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But with that pass range, you could be able to be on the other side and pass it across the court. Now, here's the reason why I say that move is important. Because the further you are away from your scorer, the less people you're bringing over to your scorer, which is supremely important because if you're a point guard and you don't have good passing range, that means you're almost going to have to stand close to your shooter in order to pass him the ball nicely, which is not something you want because if I'm a small forward, let's say I'm a small forward and you pass me the ball, but you're like standing right next to me, if I drive, if I drive a certain way, I might drive right into you. Or let's say if I drive and I pull up, because you're so close to me, your guy just contested my shot, which can make it miss. But if you have high passing range, or baseball pass or whatever it's called, you could pass from a further distance, which then, you know, keeps your defender on you and then gives me space to beat my guy one on one. So once again the extra stats that I recommend is steal rate, running speed, and pass speed, and then if you can get passing range. Okay, now let's move on to power forwards. Power forwards, man, aka the block gods, yo. Here's the stats I recommend for extra stats that I recommend for power forward. Now, power forwards, because I have Denzel, it shows his passive as block +3, but as a 500 rating, 400 rating, or 300 rating power forward, you will get block rate, and a lot of people are gonna eventually move to 400 and 500 rating power forwards, which will give you enough block rate, yo. It will give you enough block rate to survive. Here's the key that I highly suggest if you want to be a so-called lockdown power forward. Here's what I highly suggest. I highly suggest first and foremost, on the offensive side, is a layup and dunk range. man, I tell you, if you have a high, if you this is high, you be goaded because you'll be beautiful in transition defense, which is something that power forwards do very well in this game. Transition defense. And what you also need is box out contact because you can't, I'm telling you right now, you can't beat centers in the rebound game. Unfortunately, the way how the basic stats are set for power forwards, you just cannot beat centers at the rebound game. So the most you could do is try to box them out as strong as possible and get them far away from the ball. So long layup and dunk range, box up contact, and the last one is block range. You need you. I'm not even kidding me, man. What you need right now, you need block range and box out contact. Those are your two biggest right now. And then if you want to and if you can, get layup dunk range. The reason why you want that, because if a small forward is on you, if a point guard's on you, you don't want to have to dunk super close to the net where they could easily block you. No, you want to have that space to just fly over them. I'm telling you, that's a move you should definitely look into. But for right now, if you're just starting and you're wondering, what should I get on my cards for now? Or maybe you do have these cards and you're like, okay, Palm said I should stick with these for now. I'm telling you, if you have block range and box out contact as a power forward, those are your best friends as of right now. You know, as you get higher level or 500 rating, then see if you can sneak in a layup dunk range on your card A, because card A I believe is like for offense. So make sure you guys look into that. Block range, box out contact, and layup dunk range. Let's move to small forwards. Small forwards, man. Small forwards, man. They don't miss not one mid shot, and this is why I highly suggest small forwards keep it that way. Do not, how should I say, do not come off target, or however you would like to say it, on how the small forward position is supposed to be played, man. Have high mid shot field goal. Do not think for 1 second that, you know what, small forwards already have high mid shot resist, or high mid shot field goal. So I'm gonna, add some 3 points. I'm gonna add some blocks, or I'm gonna add. No, do not do it. You need to be you need to be the most reliable scorer on the court, and you got to make sure it stays that way. Do not navigate away from mid shots, yo. So I'm telling you right now, I highly suggest you get mid shot field goal on your cards, but and mid shot resists. You absolutely need those two. I'm telling you, you break people's ankles and you throw up that shot, man. Mid shot field goal, mid shot resist. I'm telling you, once you have those in your bag, you're legendary. Now, here's a stat that I think you look into, and that stat is drive tumble. That is correct. Drive tumble. As a small forward, being able to break people's ankles with all your dribble moves. Now, when I say all your dribble moves, I really mean that, yo, guys. Small forwards have a lot of dribbles in their bag, yo. Um, and they and here's the reason why I suggest that, because small forwards also come with, a decent enough of contact. So when they drive tumble, if they bump into somebody, they're absolutely fine. I hardly see small forwards flopping, falling to the ground. So I highly suggest those three things: mid shot resist, mid shot field goal, and drive tumble. If you get those on your cards, man, you're gonna be a beautiful, unstoppable small forward. Now let's get into the hardest position in this game, man. Shooting guard. That's right, guys. I'm here to help you guys on how you should play your shooting guard. Now, obviously, it's the same thing that goes, yo. It's the same thing that goes for small forward that I'm gonna say for a shooting guard. But there's a little tiny twist. Shooting guards. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. You actually do not need a lot of 3-point field goal success. I know it's a shocker. I'm telling you guys right now, The way how you're supposed to play shooting guard is in this game, it's almost like being a corner or shooting wide opens only. I'm telling you guys, a lot of people think that the shooting guard position is for like ISO and all that stuff. No. The number one key to playing shooting guard is running extremely fast to be wide open. You're almost like the fragile boy on the court. You don't want to get touched at all. You don't want anybody contesting you at all. You want to be able to just hit shots and be wide open. You want to see wide open every single second, yo. So here are the extra stats that I recommend you get on your cards right now. 3-point range. For crying out loud, shooting guards. If you keep shooting at the 3-point line, you will get swatted or your shot will get contested every second. If you back roll and you're too far from the 3-point line, then you get wide open, but too far shot animation. You don't want that. You want as much space as you can to shoot that ball from the person that's defending you. And the best way you could do that is from 3-point shot range. That's a move I highly suggest you look for on your cards. Now, the second card that the second thing that I suggest is running speed. You want to be absolutely fast. You want to be a speed demon on the court. You want to be quick. You want to run dash if you can with your center, so that way the center could screen off the person who is guarding you, and then you go flying off into the corner or something like that. You want to just outrun your person, outrun whoever's guarding you. And then last but not least is either you get more stamina on your cards, or, if you want to get stamina recovery, or if you want to get stamina limit, those are what I suggest, So as I was saying, you don't need 3-point field goal. I'm telling you right now, you don't need it. Shooting guards, you're playing this wrong. Don't try to shoot contested. You need wide opens, and if you have wide open shots, then what would be the point of 3-point field goal or 3-point resist or 3-point shot interruption if all your shots are wide open? I'm telling you right now, man, if you're a shooting guard, bro, you will hardly hit severe contest, or you will hardly hit mid interruption, bro. I'm telling you, I don't know why, but it's just not as strong as shooting small forwards hitting getting a mid interruption for their mids, yo. Shooting guards, man, you guys are fragile. Try to hit wide open shots only, and shoot from a further distance, so that way you're not shooting at the line and getting swatted. Make sure you could back roll and then shoot from a far 3-pointer. Then you're wide open, and then you don't get the out of range animation. You'll get a lot of field goal from just upgrading upgrading your cards, and then upgrading your stats. But on your cards and for extras, I highly suggest, once again, 3-point range, running speed, and if you can, stamina. Stamina recovery, stamina limit, one of those two are going to help you tremendously. Now, if you can and if you want to, you could get interrupt resistance, which can help you a lot as well. So let's say you do a back roll, if somebody contests it, if you put your 3-point range together with your interrupt resistance, then you're almost like a dead eye. You feel me? You're like a dead eye shooting guard. So maybe, interrupt resistance, 3-point range, and more running speed, man. I'm telling you guys, that's what you need inside your bag as a shooting guard, yo. Well, guys, that is it for me, man. I've explained all the stats. I've explained all the extra stats. And with all that being said, y'all, it's been your boy Nasty Palms. And remember, y'all, stay nasty. Peace.